So this video is going to contain spoilers for the battle at Winterfell if you haven't seen it just yet. So first off, overall, my impressions are that this episode had a pretty fantastic battle. It did the sense of misery really well, especially in the beginning, or actually especially at the end. That's where it really got intense. It actually reminded me a lot of Avengers Endgame. If you've seen that movie, and you probably have, honestly, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's a lot of things happen in this episode. Lady Mormont dies by a giant, gets resurrected, and joins the army of the dead. Ed, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, dies. Melisandre dies at the very end of this episode. Like, I want to talk about the visual for a second. I love the visual of the Dothraki in the very beginning of the episode getting flame blades and having them slowly fade out in the darkness 5 minutes after they got them, as soon as they ran out to meet the walkers. That's how immense this army was. It did a great job demonstrating that. Like, maybe the Dothraki's fighting style wasn't suitable for fighting them. It was the first time after all, and they just got their asses whooped, basically. Like, the walkers don't react the way humans react, so maybe that makes sense. I thought the fire trenches was kind of a good idea in some sense, but maybe they should have made them a bit wider, I think. Maybe add a few more trenches. But I suppose that the army of whites would have made a bridge across there in the end anyways. It just seems a bit strange that they wouldn't think that they couldn't throw a bridge over, you know? But maybe I've seen too many zombie movies. This episode truly was just a battle. There's no focus on anything else, just hell on earth. Just a battle at Winterfell, everyone fighting, and most of them dying, actually. And as everyone is speculating, the previous Starks that were buried in the crypts came back to life. In the crypts where everyone was being kept safe, and they just wreak havoc on all the ones being kept down there. Tyrion, of course, survived. He would never get an off-screen death. I think Viserys, the bald guy, also survived, but it is possible he met his end there. There aren't a lot of episodes left, and not everyone's going to survive the Game of Thrones, right? But the big moment of this episode is that Arya kills the Night King, and that was a surprise. I did not see it coming. It was a pretty damn awesome conclusion to her training so much along her journey, becoming this amazing fighter. My biggest question, though, is that Arya killing the Night King with her dagger, maybe that should have been saved for the last episode, you know? Like a final battle at King's Landing, which is what I guess everyone should have expected. I don't know how I feel about Cersei being the final opponent at the end of Game of Thrones, only because the entire TV show, kind of from season 1, they've been hinting at the White Walkers. Like, they all get destroyed at Winterfell that fast. They didn't even make it past Winterfell. It's just a very strange decision. You gotta wonder if the Night King is actually dead. But Cersei's really lucky. I mean, she didn't have to deal with the White Walkers at all. She just had to sit back and let everyone else handle it. Because Cersei has an amazing army over there, so clearly that battle is going to happen. But like, yeah, in the end, it's just a very strange idea. But maybe, of course, the writers are going to make it work. We'll see what happens in the next episode. My initial opinion, though, is the Night King's death is, I felt very similar to how I felt when I watched Snoke die in The Last Jedi. You know, like, him dying means there's no villain. I mean, Cersei's a villain, but the Night King was the villain to end all villains. The one that everyone should have been focused on. That was kind of the moral of the story, is that people fighting people is kind of missing the point. That's why Winter is Coming became so important. I'm just hoping Game of Thrones isn't having a Rian Johnson moment, that's all. But the Night King aside, this episode was very, very visually appealing. Just to go back to that for a second, it is one of the best looking episodes I've ever seen. Especially in the beginning, before the Night King lets loose all of the fog, or the very crazy blizzard that covered everything up. It's this kind of thing that you would want to be standing out there and looking around, seeing all these dragons. Like, that's reason enough to watch the episode again. But yeah, Theon charged the Night King, and that was pretty nuts. I mean, I don't know what he was expecting. I would just stick by Bran. But, and in fact, if he did, I think he would have still been alive, because Arya would have come, but, you know, there's no way of knowing that. Then again, Bran could have known that, but I don't know. I mean, talk about starting out as a broken coward from Ramsay Bolton to charging the Demon Lord of Westeros. That's a character arc if I've ever seen one. And really awesome conclusion to his character. But yeah, just a quick video, my initial thoughts on this episode. They did a great job, and I'm slightly concerned that the rest of the episodes are going to be less intense than this one, because, I mean, how do you beat the Night King, right? If you have any ideas, post in the comments below. I'd like to hear that. But until next week's episode, I mean, maybe I'll do a video talking about what could happen, if there are any really good theories out there. But yeah, make sure you drop a like, and thanks for watching.